The Wilson Case Gauge Depth Micrometer. First, unbox the depth micrometer. Note the instruction sheet with more details on how to properly use it. Clean with typical gun solvent and remember to coat in oil and store in a bag when not in use. You may use a Q-tip to get the rim of the depth micrometer clean. Our Wilson depth micrometer can be used with many of the gauges we manufacture. For more details on each gauge, please visit those product pages. The depth micrometer is zeroed at 0.100 or 100 thousandths. This is shown by using the gauge block supplied with each depth micrometer. Use the gauge block to get a feel for the dial. It takes a very light touch to get an accurate reading. Practice this several times before proceeding to the next step. Now we're ready to take some measurements. A good starting point for the dial is in the plus direction. Let's start with 0.125. Take an as-fired, deprimed case and plunk it into the gauge. A deprimed case is critical. We do not want the primer to interfere with our measurement. Inspect how the case fits in the gauge. Take a measurement and record the reading. Next, run the case through your sizing die. Place the same case back into the gauge and take another measurement. Record the reading. Subtract the two numbers. This gives you your current shoulder setback. If you got your desired setback, you are all set to size your cases. If not, adjust your sizing die to get you to the desired shoulder bump. Remember, if you have range brass or a mixed batch of brass, you will need to sort these prior to sizing. They may size differently since they're from an unknown source. In the event you need to re-zero your depth micrometer, loosen the set screw on the side of it and turn it back and forth a few times. This portion is threaded. With it threaded slightly out, dial it to 0, which is 0.100. Now take the gauge block and rotate that bottom portion in until it makes contact with the gauge block. You might have to do this a couple times to get it set correctly. Tighten the screw back down, and now the gauge is set to 0. Now you're ready to use the case gauge depth micrometer.